What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Camping with Coleman. It's your boy Josh, aka Coleman, and we're in the studio. We're hanging out. It's a beautiful day outside. I wish I was out there, but I've got to get this video out. I've been teasing you guys way too long now. I'm sure some of you are probably pissed off at me for it. I know a couple of you have been waiting for me to show you how I do this build so you can continue with your own builds, and for that, I am sorry. Did not mean to leave you hanging. However, life happens. Family come in and stay with me this week. Fires on the family ranch, surgeries for family members, weddings for family members, just a lot of things happening overall. On another note, I did just recently celebrate my 10-year anniversary. That means I've been married for 10 years to the same woman. That's a huge feat for me. That is something I'm very proud of, so shout out to my wife. Anyways, this isn't about my wife. This is about my 10AJK. That's what I've been calling it. The reason I've been calling that is because I got my inspiration for this build from pictures of the original 10AJK. Now, 10AJK stands for the 10th anniversary JK Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. And so I decided to build a scale one. Being sponsored by ELLIOTT is great because they offer so many products. One of those products they offer is the Boom Racing Jeep JK 2-door hardbody. It has opening doors, full interior, lots of cool details. Yeah, I just want to clarify that it's actually called the Boom Racing 2-door Jeep JK hardbody from ELLIOTT. So anyway, let's just go ahead and skip the BS and take a peek at this Jeep. So this is what I've been referring to as my 10AJK build. You guys saw it recently in my body painting video with my wife and Natalie Fletcher, the one where we went to Idaho and basically went to some sand dunes that I didn't know existed. And I busted this out to do a little test run and decided to film it. And so that's the first time this was ever really shown off. Actually, it's the second time. It did make a quick appearance in the Axial Fest movie, too. But I basically haven't really shown this off a whole lot. It has been kind of under wraps, you know. So this is a 2-door JK body from Boom Racing. The one that has the opening doors. Right? Very cool body. I have painted it intermediate blue. The interior was done with a revving red. I kept a lot of the things that came with it, like the rubber mirrors were really cool. I like that. Got rid of the rubber antenna. Not a fan of the rubber antenna, so I made my own. I used a little piece of spring steel that I cut. I used a spring and cut that. Ran a little screw through there with a grommet. Then I took a small nut, and I don't know if this will focus on that. Took a small nut, there it goes, and I ran it over the top, glued it in place, and filed down the edges just a little bit. Gives it just a little bit more of a realistic look. Again, not perfect, but you know what I'm saying. I'm more of a hobbyist. I'm not going for perfection. The closer to realism, or the closer to real life, the better, but I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Up front here, we have a LED fair lead from the Crawl Space. These are super simple. They make them themselves, and it's a 3D printed piece here. I got one of those as soon as they came out just because I like the concept of it. It was really cool. Something different from my 10AJK and the real one is my Warn winch is top mounted on the bumper. It's not flush mounted. On the real one, they are flush mounted in the bumper, right, and the fair lead would be right here. I did not do that. I liked it to go on top because of the way I mounted the body. I also got the new high lift jack from RC4 or by RC4 Drive from tgndistributing. I'm not sure if you guys saw that in my last video or not, but I did do a full unboxing video on that. So if you want to see how that works, go ahead and take a peek in my little Camping with Coleman playlist. Now, of course, standard ESP 421 plates, Oregon Trail plates. Let's see here. Rebel Off-Road sticker on top. Why? Because I love Rebel Off-Road. They build some of the baddest Jeeps on the planet. I drove this in the Foul Play Recon G6 for a little bit. Just playing around. I didn't actually compete with it, but I did do the night stage. And then I also drove this during the daytime for a little bit between filming sessions at the Axial Fest. 2015 Recon G6. These bad boys right here, these D-rings, are from Asia Tees. They're awesome. These actually, you unscrew these right here and it'll slide right out. Have the Viking safety thimble on here attached to that, which is attached to this toe strap, which then has a Kong hook on the end. So I can just mix it up and use it a billion different ways. Not to mention I also have several pull pal options available for this. I haven't decided which one I'm going to rock with this yet, but I can do so. Crack this door open here. Here's some interior work. Not a lot in here. I didn't go crazy. I just did simple, subtle things. A little bit of painting highlights here and there, like the door handles and buttons, things like that. I could still use some gauges, like an actual set of stickers to cover up these gauges here. In the meantime, though, you see the holes in the gauges. That is because there's LEDs back behind those holes. So I do have a fully lit dash, including the GPS unit here. So I had a little GPS cutout. Let's see if I can get this to focus or not. Will it focus? There it goes. I had a little GPS cutout. I just put that right over that. Back behind it, it's all backlit. So yeah, it's fully lit dash. It lights up multiple colors. You can see it still has full interior. I didn't have to go crazy on the center console. I did move it a little bit. I cut the center console and I slid it back so that it's actually flush, or not flush, but snugged up to the back seat. Alright, so if you get one of these bodies, you'll see what I'm talking about when you get yours. That center console, normally there's a gap between that and the back seat. On mine, it is all the way back now to allow for the transmission mods that I did, right? Which you will not notice a difference. When you look in there, it looks just like any other body, right? You won't notice a difference at all unless you're really looking down in there and you see a little bit of a gap down in there, right? Added the little beer can, or I mean soda can, no drinking and driving. And then in the back I made my own custom seat belts. Now I'm not going to take the top off. I could do that, but technically there's no reason to. The top, I don't have a cage built for this yet, and I'm not sure if I'm going to. I might try to modify the open top cage, because you can get these bodies either with a hard top like this or with an open top and a plastic cage. I might try to modify a plastic cage to work with the hard top. Not sure if that'll happen, or I might just have to build a cage, a metal cage. So in the meantime, to show you guys what's in there, I did do this, and this is something that these don't come with. I added this rear swing mount here for the spare tire. So I have aftermarket spare tire in here. I have a Team KAINE spare tire cover, right? And then you go ahead and, oh, and I made this little CB antenna here too. Just a piece of spring steel, a little piece out of my Axial SCX10 parts tree, right? Drill a hole, bolt that in place. Use that piece of spring steel, backfill this with black rubberized CA glue so that it'll hold in place. And then come over here, take this, and I have a long set screw basically that goes through there, and that's what holds this in place. And basically slide that off like that. Now, I could take this all the way off, but I tend to leave it on there. This, I just slide like that. This is in case I need to tow somebody. I have a tow strap already hooked up, ready to go. I just need to pop it off, hook it to their vehicle. So you take that, swing that back like so. You can pop this off if you want to go all the way back with it. Right? It does drop down due to the weight. It's actually pretty heavy. But got a little shovel tucked in back there. And then right here, I was going to make it so this opened, but that was just a lot more work than I wanted to do. This right here is part of my body mount system, which may or may not get changed here in time. But for now, this body is literally held on with one screw, and one screw only. Everything is nice and solid. There's only one screw holding this on here, and it is not going anywhere. I'll show you guys how I did that here in a little bit. So, what I did was I made my own little hinges here, and I installed this little piece here so I could grab that, Boom. Crack that open like so. And it stays right where I put it. Then you can access the back. And if you look in the back, I don't have a lot of accessories in here, just a couple of simple necessities. Got a set of mat tracks, sand ladders here, just, you know, in case. It's great for Recon G6s. Got a gas tank, or a gas can, gotta have those. Got a, man, it's hard to get this in here. Got a toe strap there. Let me lift this up a little more. There we go. And then in the center, I don't know if you guys can see that very well, there's a speaker mounted way down in there. And you won't see a whole lot of it. I tried to make it as invisible as possible. But that is a Bluetooth audio system that I have built in. And I can access a single button by reaching up underneath and clicking that button, and it will talk to me. I'm not going to do it right now, but I'll click the button and it goes Bluetooth activated. And it hooks up to my little tablet right over here. And I can just pick a song and play music straight out of my pocket instead of having to get down and mess with it, you know, like on my other trucks. It's just kind of convenient. It's pretty cool. So then, let's see what else we got here. Let's keep spinning it around. Open the other door here. All right. Now, as far as the transmission goes, if you look really close, the lighting's not right here, but just maybe. You see that little shiny part right there? That is actually a nut on the top of the transmission. So I literally got that transmission, like, it's just barely fitting in there. And just to show you guys how snug this is, look at from the bottom of the skid plate, which is right there. Now you can see it. Bottom of the skid plate, which is actually tucked up higher than these rockers here, right, to there. That is a very, very thin gap right there, like super thin. That is what I'm most proud of on this. The fact I was able to do that. That is an axial transmission somewhere tucked underneath that center console. This also has a working steering wheel, so when I turn the wheels, this steering wheel turns as well. Seat belts in the back, which do actually function. They are functioning seat belts that do plug in and all that, will hold somebody in place, which is really cool. It's got an ESS1 sound unit built into it. So these wheels are Boom Racing wheels, and these are from AsiaTees or ATs.com. They are all aluminum, beautiful construction. The finish and fitment and all that on these wheels is just outstanding. Look at that. Tires are knockoff BFGs from what it looks like, judging by the tread pattern and all that. Nothing on the side except for the size. Now let's move to the drivetrain. Let's start taking a peek at this drivetrain. I want to show you guys underneath of this thing. Alright, we've got this bad boy all upside down now. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a little bit of the undercarriage, and then eventually we'll pop the top off here and I'll show you guys the rest. But basically, I spent most of my time trying to do a good job of tucking wires, because this has a lot of wires and a lot of things hidden in it. And you can't really tell from looking at it on the outside. It looks like a stock Jeep. But it has, underneath here, see that little box down under there? You can see some scratch marks on it from my finger, where I've been scratching on it. It's got a little button in the center. That is the bottom of my speaker. So I hit that little button and it activates the Bluetooth. The part right above it, which looks like a beer bottle opener, is just that, a beer bottle opener. This is the Wordy made rear bumper mount, and it is awesome. It's a beer bottle opener rear bumper mount for an Axial SEX10. So you can crack a beer open while you're out there on the trails or camping or wherever you're at, working in your shop. You ain't got to go looking for something to pop your beer open with. You always got one with you because you got your truck. We've got some G-Racing transition shocks. Those shocks I've got, as you can see, they're angled backwards, right? And in order to do that, I use, whoop, I got fuzzies hanging off here. In order to do that, I use CBE RC Fab shock tabs. And I doubled them up to get the right angle, to get the angle that I wanted, right? If you guys are not familiar with CBE RC shock tabs, let me turn this upside down for you. Boom. CBERC.com. Or wait, no, I'm reading it upside down. CBERCfab.com. And Wordy made. those two together created the back end here. I used their products to create the back end of this thing. So what I did is I took an Axial Racing SCX10 chassis and I chopped it short. Used this rear bumper mount here from Already Made, added that, then I added these shock tabs here and got the position that I liked for the shocks. Make sure I had nice travel, make sure everything functioned properly like it should. Whoop. And it does. It works great. I got a lot of freaking grief from that on Facebook. A lot of people were hating on me at first. I am still running a 3-link in the rear. That's because I cannot run the stock 4-link. I got to get an aftermarket one, and I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet. But eventually I will have the rear 4-linked. Front will be triangulated 3-link. I have these links here, lower links, are from ats.com. These are also Boom Racing products. However, when you do this, these rear ones are not the correct length. I still need to get the correct length rear ones. In the meantime, I just shortened them myself and bent them the way I wanted them. And yeah, they're working great for now, but they will not remain that way. Eventually, I'll just get a shorter set so that I have the proper lengths in the rear. I have wired up some undercarriage lights, which you can see there. There are undercarriage lights on that side and on this side, just to light it up for the rocks at night. Spin this around here. I have an ESS1 sound unit, and as you can see, it does not look normal. That's because I chopped that bad boy in half, sanded it down, and did a bunch of modifying on it to get it to where basically the speaker is mounted pretty low right here, as low as I could get it, and the back of the speaker actually is hidden inside of the rear of the center console in the interior, so it is still encased for the most part. Then I took the back of it off and threw it away. That way I could get it all to fit in here. Then I took the control board part of it and I sanded that down after disassembling it. I sanded it down and cut the mounts down and everything so I could get it as low as I could and tuck it into this little pocket that I had right here, and still have access to the controls so I can do the programming and turn it up and down and all that. And if I want to plug it into the computer, you see this little cable right here, comes right here. I can just unplug that right there and plug it into the computer and still be able to fine-tune my sounds and all that stuff. Pretty cool. And I can also, because I'm running a Holmes hobby system in here, I also have quick access to that right up behind this battery pack here. As far as the battery pack goes, that is a, I can slide it over a little bit, that is a 5300 or 5200 milliamp 3S Next Level pack. Believe it's a 35C discharge, and that is from ckrchobbies.com. You can see here I've obviously been driving the snot out of this a little bit, and it's all scratched up. That's part of my testing. Now, one of the most important things here, oh, also you can see as far as the other electronics, here's my winch box. We've got LED light control. There's more LEDs tucked in there too. What else? I painted the inside of my dog bone cups here. These, I don't know what you really call those, but the cup side of the spindle. I painted the cups red to match everything, just because I don't know, I like the way that looks, and I'm not going to go spend a bunch of money on VP parts right now. So I really like that. All the shiny stuff you see, matter of fact, every single nut and bolt, every single piece of hardware you will find in this entire vehicle is all from Team K&K Hardware. And I do mean every single nut, bolt, everything. The only thing that isn't would be like set screws. Like the set screws that are in that are not Team K&K. Everything else, Team K&K, baby, all day. Let's see, standard Axial SCX10 chassis and rock sliders. Big bore W8 drive shafts, but they're modified and strengthened, so they are very strong. That's for my lower drive shafts. And yeah, for the most part, that is it. So there we go, just give you guys another stance shot of this thing before I take the body off. You can see how it sits. Super low. If I lift this up, you can see the chassis sits very, very close to the body. I mean very, very close. Up like this. The battery sits all the way down on the chassis rails. It's literally basically pinched into place when I mount the body. There's one screw that goes through the back that keeps everything centered and locked into place, and well, at least keeps everything centered and from sliding around. And right there in the front, there are 2 grooves in the body, which my chassis rails literally just lock right into. And that keeps everything nice and solid. I can swing it around and all that stuff, and nothing's gonna happen. So, believe it or not, that does work, and I like to mount the body with as few screws as possible, so that's why I do that. Here's the mess that's underneath of it, and it's actually not as bad as it was. I know that looks like a lot, but believe it or not, the whole body separates just by unplugging the 3 motor wires, right? The sensor wire from the back of the motor, and the servo. Unplug the servo. And once you do that, basically you can undo this 1 bolt in the back, and the whole body will separate from the chassis, and you've got just a bare chassis sitting there, which is really, really nice. Now, the thing that you guys are probably most curious about is this. That is my ESP anti-spur layout, which is, like I said, it's nothing fancy or spectacular. It's just my way of getting the motor up front and getting the gear ratio and feel that I like for a scale truck. So, call it the anti-spur for obvious reasons. There is no spur gear there. Let me go ahead and slide this battery out of here. There's no spur gear. So what I do, I literally just take the Axial SCX10 transmission, I flip it around, strip it down to where there's nothing on it. I will chop down the input shaft, grind it flat, lock a set screw onto it, which will lock it into place. And so now I can use that MIP there. And this is a modified MIP, obviously shortened down. On the top side, I use an HPI gear reduction unit, and I modify the HPI gear reduction unit. I modify that, use a reducer, and basically get it to where it'll attach nice and solid to this drive shaft here. So now I can run from an HPI gear reduction unit down to an Axial SCX10 transmission. Hollow out the bottom of this skid plate or tranny plate, whatever you want to call it a little bit. The one from Boom Racing has all these pots and pits and pockets and whatever in it, right? Makes it so you can hollow that out and get it really far down, but because it's all aluminum, you don't lose any rigidity or anything. It's still very solid. This transmission is built, so inside of it, it has a pineapple gear set, right, is what they call it, a pineapple gear set. Really what it is, it's helical cut gears for the transmission, and it's from ats.com. So that's how I do that, you guys. And what I do is I take the motor mount, right, you can see that's the motor mount off the transmission. I take it, and then I take a servo mount, and I basically bolt the 2 together and create a mounting system to where I can just mount that HPI gear reduction unit. And yeah, I can still slide it around, move it to adjust the pinion angle and stuff like that, or the, I don't know what you call that because there's not really a pinion there anymore, but this angle here, right, the pinion angle of the drive shaft, I adjust that by using these sliding mounts in the motor system. It's just coming up with your own ideas, doing your own builds, doing your own things, and this is how I do mine. So let's talk about what we're running here. This is a Holmes Hobbies 3300 kV Puller Pro Stubby. That is a censored, waterproof, brushless motor. Alright, it is a beast. I don't know how else to describe it other than it is freaking beast. Here, let's see if I can get this on camera. Can you see that? Read that? Boom, Holmes Hobbies Puller Pro 540 3300 kV. It is just an amazing motor, and you can see how short it is. That is key to doing this build. With any normal size motor, you're not going to be able to get the body down as low as I do. Now, you can, if you use GCM Racing's front mount motor system, you can do that, but keep in mind that that is going to be more expensive than building your own using a it's like $23 or $24 HPI gear reduction unit. So just something to keep in mind there. I also use CBE RC Fab shot keys on the front too to lower the chassis down even further, right? Whoa, this is leaning, don't fall over yet. Alright, there we go. So that is little things like that are crucial to doing this. You can't just buy this body, buy an SCX10 and then slap it on there. It's not going to go together properly. I had to shorten the chassis in the rear, I had to modify the transmission the way I did there, and in order to get all this stuff, the battery, the motor, the gear reduction unit, servo, CMS kit, all that stuff to fit up front to where it's front biased weight and everything's under the hood. Oh, that is going to fall down. I had to do these modifications, right? So you can see this is literally HPI gear reduction unit, motor, servo, CMS kit with it, all right here between the front shock towers. Boom, right there. No spur gear or anything like that, right? Now, there is benefits to this and there are downfalls to this, some negatives to this, right? So the benefits are it locks everything solid. So that's a matter of opinion and preference for guys like me personally. I love everything locked up. I do not like having pinion and spur gears because I'm bound to blow it sooner or later, right? They just wear and they blow. And I don't like that. I like all metal everything, right? But I also don't like having metal on metal pinion and spur because they sharpen over time unless you get the metals just right, and it's something I don't like. And it's a big spinning thing in the middle of your truck which picks up weeds and debris and stuff like that, and it's stuff I'm just not a fan of personally. Now yes, I do still have trucks that have spur gears and pinions and stuff. That has a pinion and spur, that has a pinion and spur, that has a pinion and spur. So yes, I do still have a lot of trucks that rock the standard transmission setup, right? But more and more lately, I'm leaning towards doing this. It's proven to be solid. It doesn't break. If I'm going to break anything, it's usually going to be a bearing, or I will split an axle case in half, like it'll flex apart, you know, and allow a tooth to skip. But that's all I ever do, and it's only in extreme circumstances, right? And the bearing that blows is usually this little guy right here, where the pinion output is, or input is. So yeah, that's how I do it, you guys, and I really hope that helps some of you out. Moving on from the anti-spur setup, here's the ESC I'm running. Now, I haven't gone through and waterproofed all this stuff yet. The ESC is waterproof from the factory. That is a Trailmaster BLE Pro, okay? It's waterproof, it's censored, it's brushless. It can run up to 6S, and it is essentially a Mamba Max or Mamba Monster Pro or whatever on steroids, with a lot of fine-tuning options for scale guys like myself. I'm running a standard Castle 10 amp BEC up there. I have that dialed in to put out just around 6.5 volts or something like that to my receiver. I souped it up a little bit because I have a lot of draw, and when I'm under a load, I want it to still be around 6 volts. You know, I don't want it to dip below that. I have, as you can see there, the FS, whatchamacallit, IR4, I believe is what that receiver is called. That is the new Fly Sky receiver from asiatees.com, and I will be going over that and the radio here in an upcoming video. I'll be talking about that because it has grown on me. I really like it. It's a FSIT4 radio. Next to that, there's a miniature high-tech servo, which is poking through the firewall there, and that is because up underneath there, I don't know if you can see in there, but up underneath, inside of that black abyss there, is a whole bunch more wiring, servos, speaker, a whole bunch of stuff. LEDs all through there. Oh, dogs are going crazy. And that is because I have, you know, the working steering wheel and the working dash and all that stuff, right? All the dash lights and all that. So that is where all the wiring and all those components are. Let's see, other than that, I think that's about everything, guys. I think we just touched on the whole truck. Yeah, that's it. That is it, you guys. So let me know what you think about that. I've been really busting my butt hard, and I know this isn't the prettiest sight, having it all cocked up like that, you know, but I really wanted to show you guys the nitty-gritty of my builds and show you guys what they look like on the bench here. And this is the latest one I've done. This is, I think I'm going to name it Blue Dream. You guys, give me your advice on names. Let me know what your favorite name would be for a Jeep like this. So far, Blue Dream's taking the cake for me. I've tried to think of a bunch of other ones like Crimson and, you know, I don't know, Diablo. but I like Blue Dream for some reason. Alright, you guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I am going to put this back together. I'm going to go hit some trails and shoot some video of it in action. So hopefully here in the next day or two, you'll be seeing some videos like that as well. And I appreciate you guys taking the time. If you made it this far into it, please take the time, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I really busted my butt on this, and I hope you guys really appreciate the work I put into this. Like, subscribe, share, all the things that help me stay in business here. And I will be back with another episode hopefully tomorrow, you guys. Thank you. Peace, chicken grease. Holla at your boy.